What's up there, Workforce? Chris here with Work to Game, and it's time for the patch 5.25 patch notes. This one should be fairly fast, and if you want the super fast version, it's basically centered on the fact that we got new Crafter and Gatherer relics, and we got new battle relics added for this expansion. The battle relics, I assume, will follow patterns we've seen in the past. The crafting and gathering relics, we don't have a past to look at, so this is all new content. When we look back on this expansion and we decide whether or not there was new content, this has to be put in the definitely new category. First of all, I do want to mention that for North America, as with everything else, we have temporary closures here. So they have announced at the end of March that available support was being increased for things like email correspondence and in-game help desk correspondence, and then in North America, temporarily unavailable. We would have no more support center live chat, no more support center phone calls, and no more in-game GM contacts. So just keep in mind they are adjusting. They're doing their best to keep that going. And we are now ready to dive into patch 5.25 notes. Echoes of a Fallen Star, patch 5.25, is going to add basically two new quest lines. One is Save the Queen, our Blades of Gunhildr quests, which we expected that to be added going into our battle relics, and then skysteel tools. This is what's expected to unlock our skysteel tools. They did go ahead and, for anybody just looking for bug fixes, change it to where if your free company levels up in rank, it will no longer post that during cutscenes. They did go ahead and add the housing items from the Final Fantasy XIV furnishing design contest for 2019, and those new furnishings have been added. The Manderville Golden Saucer will have new triple triad cards. That's fairly common. And our resistance weapons, which is what our relics are being called, questline has been added. This is going to be a lengthy instance duty. If you are defeated by one of its bosses, your progression will be saved, allowing you to challenge them again immediately rather than start from the beginning. But if you log out, or if you take a break and go do something else, if you undertake a different duty, it's going to lose that progress. So plan on completing this in one go. They've warned us multiple times that the content this patch is either lengthy in one sitting or is lengthy period. So just plan on this being a very time sink intensive patch for people that do not want to take a break from this game. Obtaining resistance weapons, once you complete all these quests, you're going to get one resistance weapon based on the job that completed that duty. You are going to have to, once you start it with that job, that's the one you're going to have to finish it with, unless I guess you abandon. Separate jobs are going to have a repeatable quest if they want to earn weapons for additional jobs. Keep in mind, guys, that whether or not this is an amazing best in slot weapon or anything based on the stats that, this comes out, that this is something that will upgrade over time. So plan on getting this if you plan on being here for future patches. Historically, this upgrades over the half patches. So our next big update would be around patch 5.35. So this is something that you kind of want to have at least one of before patch 5.35, just in case as they iterate on this system, they add something interesting like Baldesian Arsenal. You don't want to have to go back through previous chapters to get that unlocked. Now, our new trial has been unlocked. This will be available in the raid finder. This is going to require average item level 470 or above. You will be, of course, level 80s. There will, of course, be 8 of you, and the time limit will, of course, be 60 minutes. This will require that you complete the side quest to unlock it, which they haven't named because I assume it spoils it in some way. There should be several plus signs out of this patch. Go complete all of them. And the Echo will be added to previous stuff like Eden's Gate. So this is all following the typical pattern. Everything previous gets easier, new stuff added. Season 15 of the Feast begins. So for anybody interested in PvP in this game, it is something that, at least in North America, is not engaged with in huge numbers compared to other games. So the best time to do it is at the beginning of the season when interest is high. So if you want to be that top combatant and get your special reward, plan on getting started on that right away as soon as that's available. So, items. We don't have any information. I assume because this is all stuff that will be spoiled. This is fairly typical when we have things that are going to spoil them. So there's going to be new recipes added. Prominently, I assume those are centered on the skysteel tools. And then we have new items being added, which is, of course, going to be all the things like relics, or if there's a pet for the trial that kind of spoils that or anything there, they're not going to tell us. Skysteel tools, it's time to talk about that. That is probably the single largest change that was unpredictable for patch 5.25 as the expansion launched. This is something we could not have seen coming. This is going to be our hand and land enhanceable weapons. You're going to obtain these through mislaid plans, and you're going to get a skysteel prototype coffer. This item will transform into the tool based on your current class. You will be able to enhance these by turning in a number of deliveries to Dynas in the broom before it can be enhanced. Please note that items required will depend varying on tool, so they basically seem like they'll be centered on each crafting and gathering class, so that you're doing something that makes sense for them, working with materials that make sense for them. Makes sense. Just like doing the crafting and gathering class quests. The skysteel tools must be equipped when crafting these new recipes, and they're basically going to open up another little tab down in Ishgardian Restoration called Skysteel Tools, and our miner and botanist will allow you to gather special things from the specific gathering points, and they'll kind of tell us where that is. That you'll be able to click on that. You have a hidden node at least being shown in the one screenshot they gave us here. The fisher will allow you to have a special lure, which will let you catch the fish required to upgrade your skysteel tool from the specific specified fishing locations. And then this will be something enhanced in future patches. It says, please note that enhancing these tools may require players to invest a significant amount of time. So any crafters and gatherers out there that never touched things like Atma or Eureka or anything like that, just expect this to be a very big time sink. Basically, what the Relic has meant for battle classes is that an alternative to things like Savage and Ultimates, where technically the encounter is minutes long, though the investment to get it down may be hours and hours long, that in trade for what can be debatably called a show of player skill, that this is a show of player investment, and that relic weapons have been a way of creating an alternative path for people that don't want to do Savage and Ultimate to have relevant gear. Where that eye level has fallen has changed, but with the fact that we don't have a raid equivalent way of getting the best in slot tools for our crafters and gatherers, this is going to be something that can beat the previous ways that they've introduced that gear. So this could very easily be the best in slot. I have no idea what happens at the end of Shadowbringers to this gear. The battle system, that gear will basically fall away. Every expansion's relic just falls away. It gets more and more powerful, and then in the next expansion it becomes irrelevant. But I don't know that this has to. They could just make this do something really interesting, like preserve baits or preserve materials or something like that. I can only speculate until we get to the end of this expansion and we have a feel for how this ages. So I would plan on getting at least one skysteel tool and one of the battle, what are those called? Resistance weapons. I would plan on getting at least one of those, just so that if something interesting happens, you're along for the ride. Now, keep in mind, guys, the miner and botanist gathering points, there will be new ones added. There will be new items added to existing ones, and new fish will be added. This all seems like they would have to do this at a minimum just to add the skysteel tools, so nothing shocking there. New achievements and titles have been added, centered on all this new content, of course. And the new raid will unlock a tankless job. Somebody's got to do it, tank you, all that will, of course, be contributed right there for Gunbreaker, Dark Knight Warrior, Paladin, centered on tanking the new content. The Raktika Greatwood will no longer be separated into multiple instances, and there's a handful of resolved issues and known issues. Patch notes are in the link below. If you want to go scroll through this, these are fully in English, and the only things hidden from us are names of things that might act as a spoiler. So, guys, go hands-on with this patch if you don't plan on taking a break. We don't know what will happen with the end of this expansion, with the launch of the next expansion, if it will be affected by delays. We don't know. And for anybody that is not choosing to take this time to go play other games, should they find themselves at home a lot, I can't tell you what the pacing on this patch will be. This is time sink content. This is something that for an average player to try a little bit or just one of should not be an impossible amount of time, but for somebody that wants to get all of them or wonders if they should get all of them, this could require a very substantial amount of time to get multiple relic weapons and tools. So plan on investing that. My name is Chris with Work2Game. I'm going to go get hands-on since the patch goes live in 11 minutes, and I'm going to go try all this stuff out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.